apologize because I have, we have 3 hours and a half difference. So it's always a mess for me when I work with India. And now I realize it's right. I'm here 5 minutes late.
Not a problem. Okay. Absolutely not a problem. So welcome everybody to this interesting webinar today. And I welcome Cristina Campofreddo. She is a real friend, and friendship goes long, long back. She comes with more than 3 decades of experience in skills development, training, and HR management for leading companies in fashion, publishing, and financial field. She started her own company in 2013 to deliver high quality coaching and training. And what's unique about Cristina and what impresses me the most is her varied field of interest in the world of coaching. So she's researched a lot and developed a lot of her own protocols in fields like, say, shadow work. She has an extensive work on intuition. And one such interesting field that she has contemplated a lot is masculine and feminine aspects of coaching competencies. And that is what she brings to us today. Welcome, Cristina, and thank you for bringing this topic to all of us today. Before I hand over to you, Cristina, I'll make an announcement for all that again, this webinar is entitled for CCUs. And during the webinar, I will be posting a link in the chat box. Please click on the link and submit the form within 24 hours of this webinar. And we will share with you your CCUs certificate at the end of November. So we'll send you a compiled CCUs at the end of November. So with this, over to you, Cristina.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you so much. We're so far away, India, and I'm sitting in Italy now, but so close to each other because now, with everything that happened in this last year, we realized that we can connect very easily. And I've been working like this for so many years, and it's a joy to reconnect with friends in India and from all over the world. That they are connected now in this webinar. How many are we today?
We are currently 73, and I do expect people joining in soon. More people joining.
A lot of people. And I asked for the breakout rooms, but we will share our contribution here, both through the chat and just by raising your hand and just talking or asking or sharing what you have to share that comes from your perspective or comes from your intuition or your insight by. So we're here to talk about masculine and feminine polarities, and masculine and feminine polarity work is like of a guide, I would say, to navigate and to support, to enhance our own evolution as human beings and of course as coaches. So before going any further, I just want to ask you something, and maybe we can share a few answers to my question. And the question for me today, for you today, is what are you open to take away from today's webinar?
You can chat it, you can put it in the chat box.
Not just what are you willing, but what are you open to take away from today's webinar? Because I guess that you are here today, and this is just my guessing, because you saw the title, and the title speaks about masculine and feminine aspects of the coaching competencies.
So Cristina Reti is saying, any new perspective? I'm so intrigued. Anita is saying again, a new perspective on coaching. Anu says a better understanding of the same. Bhuvneshwari Ravi says energy and transformation. Rekha is saying open to being challenged about my understanding. Balance of the two, curious, anything and everything that is offered. Relevance to relationships, enhanced awareness of my own coaching style, and how can I develop more holistic coaching style. Open to understanding diversity and inclusion. Curious to know how you think. Yeah. How to grow, to build feminine aspects of human beings. anything in questioning based on gender. Awareness
Fantastic.
on my coaching strengths and styles. Just let me know when to stop, Cristina, because
Yeah.
people are really
Yeah,
posting there.
yeah. When I can be more feminine or masculine in coaching, integrate this polarity. Yes, yes. Well, we will. You're fantastic. I just love your contribution. I just love people that react, and yeah. We will probably touch all these. We just have 60 minutes, but now we have 50 minutes. So I will start by sharing with you that working with the fundamental building blocks of life, like we are going to do today, it helps us to learn how to move beyond judgments. And this is so important for coaches to move beyond judgments. So this webinar is not designed to give answers because we're coaches, we don't give answers, we put questions, or to tell us how to live life. It is especially designed to help us to look at life and coaching from a different perspective. We can use our inner masculine and our inner feminine dynamics to change, to develop, and evolve each other. It's like an inner marriage. And as we explore the polarity, the duality within ourselves, we come to see that the foundation of life and what holds reality together are paradoxical and forever changing. So we need to adapt to that. We are coaches and we are pretty much trained to do that. So this webinar is also abstract. My purpose is to offer overline principles and concepts that should be colored with your own life and coaching experience and with your unique understanding. So this webinar is also practical. You can start using the maps that we will share, and you can begin to change your inner world and your approach to life and coaching. So we will explore very quickly and very little. We can maybe develop a little bit further in some next webinars in the future, but we will explore the masculine and feminine mirror and how to support the evolution, how to evolve the masculine and feminine, and what I call the immature part of the masculine and feminine, which is not bad, it's not diminishing. We have immature and mature masculine and feminine. This means that the mature feminine or the mature masculine is a developed aspect of us, and the immature feminine and the immature masculine is still in need of development. And since it is an ongoing process, as I said, it's not bad or good. It's just a fact that we can develop that part of us. And of course, by doing that, we can also touch and influence our evolution as coaches. In this work that I propose about the masculine and feminine aspects, I usually outline how to move between our masculine and feminine polarity in order to evolve ourselves and support the evolution of others, to find more integration in life by first acknowledging our separation. So the first step is to acknowledge that we work and we promote separation in life because our mind is based on the duality work and the duality process, and that's why we tend to reinforce, since we will be on this planet, separation, which is not bad in itself, but we need to acknowledge that and we need to kind of overcome and observe from the outside what happens. The purpose of this work is also to make all expression of our masculine and feminine healthy, not just mature, but healthy. And as I said before, and I want to underline it again, remember that our immature traits and values, they are not necessarily bad, but they need to be developed. So the process is about judging less and coming to a naturally evolving state of health and balance. And as I said, masculine and feminine polarity work gives us a lens to better understand ourselves, our relationships to others, our relationship to the world, and the dualistic nature of life. And to help us remember that, we can constantly look at all our relationships, not just the coaching relationships, through the masculine and feminine lens. And by doing that, we can develop, we can have a powerful framework for personal growth and transformation that allows us to better integrate every aspect of us as a whole person. From my experience, we can do that with our clients if we begin to do that with us. So it's essential to self-reflect this process in order to be able to offer it to our clients. Masculine and feminine polarity works recognize that we all have an inner masculine and an inner feminine, that they are not dependent on gender. So both in a man and a woman, there is a masculine and feminine aspect. There are masculine and feminine aspects that they are not dependent on gender at all. So as I said, masculine and femininity are not bound by gender. And I encourage you, if this affirmation triggers any reactions in you, you can try replacing the masculine, the he, his, with yang, and the feminine with yin. And I'm sure in India you're pretty much familiar with that, or with any other expression that comes to your mind. Because this work is not trying to give us labels or to put us in boxes or tell us that there is a correct way to be. There is not a correct or a good way to be. This work allows the duality and the polarity of masculinity and femininity to be more transparent, to accept and be kind of less dogmatic with us and with our clients. Remember that in order to create new experiences in our life, we need tension. We need attention. You can try to imagine a rubber band. We need tension in our lives to create new experiences. I mean, the rubber band needs to be tense, and that's why we need the polarity of masculine and feminine within ourselves to create life, to create the experiences in life. I see something in the chat. Ashwarya, can you? Because I have lots of difficulties in reading.
Not a problem. So the participants are affirming what you're saying, and it's also about, apart from yin and yang, it is also part of our Indian philosophy, yogic philosophy, the yogic system, wherein we talk about the two nadis, they call it. I do not know how to really translate the word nadis, but there are two energy flows which happen in the body, you know, the two main energy flows, Ira and Pingala. So it is again similar to yin and yang, the positive and the negative, the sun and the moon. So it balances that way. So it's very much aligned to the Indian philosophic system as well. Yeah, energy meridians.
I know, and it would be great to, I mean, I would love to learn more and to get more feedback from your points of view, and that's why, I mean, we can see that from every approach to life, every culture, every religion, we go all in the same direction, which is beautiful and amazing. And that's why also coaching has no boundaries around the world by applying these principles, for instance. So we are spiritual beings. We have no gender, and we have no gender when we are only spirit. When we take a body, we choose a body, we choose a gender. And it's like if we give up to the other half, the other gender, only physically. Shiva and Shakti. And what's the other name?
So that's basically, again, the Indian mythology aspect of it. That also aligns with a similar concept is what the participant is saying.
Yeah. Fantastic. And yes, let's see it from the mother and father perspective. The mother, the female, the yin, usually opens space. The male, the father, usually closes the space. The father puts boundaries. The male, masculine, puts boundaries. The mother opens boundaries. We need them both. When we talk about the mother and father, we're not speaking about the real human mother and father, but we talk about the feminine and masculine behaviors. They are archetypical. Let's go to the Bible or other religious books. We have a command that says, honor the father and the mother. What if this refers not only to our biological father and mother, but to the divine aspects inside of us? So honor the masculine and feminine, because we need to glorify both the masculine and feminine part of our divine being. And glorify comes from glory, gloria, and Latin facere, ficare. It means to make, facere. And magnify, make it big. So put this together, it means that we need to observe, to recognize and see it, to magnify and manifest life in our reality. So to honor the father, the masculine, is to bring the purposes of self into material manifestation. So we need that. We need the masculine energy in order to bring it to manifestation. Well, I usually have no slides, but I will share a few slides and I will send them to you, to Ashwarya, and maybe I will share them in the chat at the end of the call. And then to honor the mother, the feminine, it means that the father-mother roles embody the continuity of the communication cycle of the self, of ourself. And this is blocked. I mean, this cycle, this communication cycle is blocked when we identify only with earthly things, when we identify with roles. So we have to go beyond, above the roles. Otherwise, we lose the perception of being spiritual entities, and we lose the perception of the entities, of the spiritual entity of our clients. So to transcend the masculine and feminine, it means also to allow more of our client to express. That's why, I mean, for all the reasons that I shared until now, is essential to be aware that we need to recognize and integrate all aspects of us and of our client. The maps, the consideration that we share here, or that we can read and learn about masculine and feminine, are just guides to help us navigate the emotional polarity. Because masculine and feminine are two very helpful metaphors that support us to physically embody these understanding. we need to think in duality in order to perceive it as human being and to understand it. As I said before, both our feminine have mature and immature expressions. The key is not becoming stuck in polarity while we use duality. Duality is masculine and feminine. Polarity is how mature, where I am in my masculine aspect, or where I am in the expression of my feminine aspects. So the duality is like an element having two faces. The polarity is where do we want to move into the expression of that single face, feminine or masculine. Besides, I mean, what we believe and we feel in relation to what is masculine and what is feminine is our own truth. And no one should take it away from us. But we can outline here some common traits. Our mature masculine can be the wisdom, the intellect, the knowledge. Our mature feminine is everything that we enjoy about life. It is everything related to creation as well as diversity, empathy, and our intuition, which is also present in the new competency model of ICF. The mature masculine is the complete expression and acceptance of all life. When we talk about, or when we recognize some immature aspect of ourself, it's very precious because it lets us know when something is out of balance and needs attention. So let me share some slides here so that I can show you what I mean when I talk about the mature masculine and mature feminine. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, here it is. I borrow this work. There is the source at the bottom of the slides. You can see that.
Cristina, yeah. Can you put it in the screen slide sharing mode, in the full screen mode?
Yes.
Yep.
Can you see that? Oh, can you see that? Because I lost you completely. Let me just do that and then reshare it. I can't.
Oh, okay.
For some reason I can't. For some reason I can't, because I lose the screen and I can't see you anymore. Anyway, let me just.
It's okay. Let's go ahead with that. That's okay.
Yeah. So the mature feminine, you can see some aspect. Mature feminine is when you are self-assured. It's about supporting diversity. It's about showing empathy. The mature feminine is actually devoted to the masculine. So when the mature feminine is healthy, let's say, it supports the masculine, but you can go to the mature masculine on the right, and you can see that it worships the feminine when it is a healthy masculine aspect. Back to the mature feminine, comprehension, it feels joy for another's joy, intuitive, accepting, creativity, freedom, trust, healing, and love. But if you go to the mature masculine, you see emotional and mental balance, selflessness, wisdom and discernment, responsibility, holding space and boundaries, mindfulness, and love. So ultimately, love is present everywhere when there is a healthy aspect of both of both feminine and masculine sides. So love is the highest expression of both, which reunites both expressions. And if you go to
Hello.
the polarity of self-assured, which is attention seeking. Yes.
Cristina, we lost you in between. Probably your internet went through that.
Okay.
Just last one line, last one or two lines, we lost you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now.
Very good. So I was sharing that, you know, the feeling of love, you can see love connects both the mature masculine and the mature feminine. Love is the higher expression which reunites both sides, both the masculine and the feminine. And when you go to the immature side, for instance, in the feminine part, you see that the polarity, the opposed polarity of self-assured can be attention-seeking. Well, these are just, remember that these definitions are just proposals. They are not rules. They are just there to give names to emotions and to the way we express these aspects of us. But remember that from self-assured to attention-seeking, we have all the different shades in the different steps of the polarity of these aspects. I think there are quite some I can't hear you.
What is shadow is the question. What do you mean by shadow? So you have
the shadow. Yeah, the shadow is what we don't see, what's in the shadow. It's what we can't see, which is a hidden part of us that is also, let's say, ashamed of showing up or has been confined somewhere because we thought it was not good.
What's the basis of this classification?
Say it again, Aswarya.
What is the basis of this classification?
Well,
yep.
As I said, it's a proposal. It's what I offer, what I usually use to give names to how do I show up my feminine and my masculine expressions, and it's a tentative, you know, it's an attempt to give names, which is always tricky, but to give names to the emotions, to the behaviors that identify what we call the feminine and the masculine aspects. When these aspects, and then I will share it again just to give more sense to what I'm saying, when these aspects needs to be developed, think about a fruit that is not mature yet. It's not bad, but it needs to mature and to come to a bigger, more whole expression. So when we seek attention or when we experience attachment to something, it's because there is a message there. So attention seeking is the other pole of being self-assured. Let's say, when we find someone who is arrogant, it's the other opposite. It's the polarity of being humble, but it's not bad. I mean, maybe this immature masculine aspect needs some attention, needs the attention of the mature feminine, needs self-assurance. How does it sound?
So somebody is asking, how do we know that which one is more, which of these aspects is dominant in us?
Well, that's a good question. How do we know that? Observation, and I would say just, being in touch with who we are. When we blame, let me share the screen again so we can make some examples. For instance, when we find ourselves blaming someone or feeling jealousy or resentment, we can perceive that there is something unbalanced, and we can perceive that we are in a place where our feminine aspect needs to be needs some attention. And who can give attention to the immature feminine aspect? The mature masculine. So we need what we need to do, what we need to be aware is, and we can use it in coaching now, we can transfer what I'm saying in a coaching session. We need to recognize that there can be a dance, there is a dance between the different aspects of ourselves. All aspects of ourselves need to have a voice, and they need to be expressed. But we surely have some more developed aspects in the masculine, and some more developed aspects in the feminine, and they can support each other. So let's say the competitive, immature masculine can be accepted and supported by the freedom and trust and healing in the mature feminine. It's not so obvious, it's not so direct, but let me show you this second slide with the evolving the masculine and feminine. These mature feminine on the top left side can evolve the immature masculine into the mature masculine. As I was saying before, like selfishness and greed, attention, joy for others in the mature feminine can support the developing of generosity and selflessness. But the point is that it's important to recognize that we own all these aspects. Okay, let me just read. How do you connect the masculine and feminine aspect of the coaching competencies? What is the larger purpose of getting awareness of this? Yes. Do you have, Ashwarya, do you have to share, do you have the file of the ICF competencies to share, or shall I do that?
Can you share that? Because I will not be having it just quite ready with me.
Okay, let me just find it. Or maybe we can just go to I can share it with the screen. I always have some difficulties in speaking and doing things, so be patient with me.
Not a problem, Cristina, take your time.
Okay, we can just go to the page of the ICF updated core competency model. This is what I use, and try to apply what we just shared a little bit. So So what comes to my mind first is what has been so much introduced in this new competency model, which is partnership. Partnership is everywhere in establishing and maintaining the agreement, in co-creating the relationship. So the question that I offer you is, what if we need to apply, what if we want to apply what we just shared about the masculine and feminine aspects in terms of enhancing these competencies, establishes and maintains agreement, and all the declination of this competency? What comes to your mind? And I just need to stop sharing if I want to read something.
You don't worry, Cristina, I can still see the chart. So in case if you're sharing and somebody puts it in the chat box, I will be able to pick it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So what comes to your mind? I mean, who is the part of the client that is pretty much able to establish and maintain agreement?
So no response yet. Masculine. Agreement and action is masculine.
Yeah, and how can you think the masculine is able to be so healthy? Our masculine part as coaches can be so healthy and mature to establish, maintains a clear or create a clear agreement, being respectful of boundaries, clarify what coaching is and is not, and partner with the client in all phases. Yeah, I can you hear me? You can
Yes.
still hear me, right?
Yes. Accepting, freedom and trust, love, presence, listening is feminine.
Yes, I appreciate your contribution and what you write, because we can start seeing that we don't have a separation when we try. You see, our mind is willing to separate things and to maybe try to find an answer by, okay, so how is this competency related to masculine, or is it that competency related to feminine? But we can start seeing that in order to show up and to demonstrate the competency number 3, establishes and maintains agreement, we need to integrate all feminine aspects of us, accepting, freedom and trust. As you are writing in the chat, presence, listening is feminine, non-judgmental, right?
Being aware and appreciating and be empathetic to others for the way every individual is.
Exactly. So, yeah, I like this question. If we're not showing up ourselves as mature feminine and masculine, how can we be a partner with the client? Of course, we are not, and let me just go back to the slides. Of course, we are not all, perfect. We're not searching for perfection. We're not all mature feminine and mature masculine. Our own aspects needs to be seen and supported and developed. So let me just share what comes to my mind. If you see in the immature feminine on the bottom right, anxiousness, or fear, or overly emotional, or whatever any other uncomfortable feeling related to these emotions comes, we can be, how can I say, we can show these emotion or experience these emotion before a coaching session, or when a client shares with us some topic, or we sometimes have in our shadow the fear of not being a good coach for our clients, the fear of not being able to support our clients to their results or their goals. So these are parts of us that can be there. They can be there with us as coaches. So the point is, how can we develop the aspect in the duality and polarity side of these emotion in order to support us in coaching?
So there's an interesting question here. Do the masculine and feminine aspects need to match between the coach and coachee at different stages of the conversation?
Well, this is a nice question. I mean, I would say no, we don't. The fact is being aware of what we mirror and what the client is mirroring us, especially. Because if we believe that life is a mirror, if we believe that the client can also do this work is also valid for us, that this truth is also our truth. So we can just be aware of what's going on and how our energy, because at the end of this conversation, we are working with energy, so we can be aware of how our masculine energy matches during the conversation. We need to ask ourselves questions like, what have I said yes to? What have I said no to in order to show or to show up this way, in order to perceive these feelings? About the feminine, where does my feminine aspects, where does my feminine nature not feel safe? Where I am not using discernment to choose the best outcome. These can be questions that can support our feminine to develop more. And if we feel we are in our immature masculine, so the immature masculine is bringing our feminine down, we need to stop and start focusing on our mature feminine values and attributes and bring our masculine up, and ask questions to ourselves like, where inspiration or creativity and diversity are lacking in my life? Where am I not listening to my intuition? Or where I'm not accepting myself enough? So working with polarity and duality, masculine and feminine polarity work, it is about, as I said before, embody the opposing mature pole to bring the immature up. Making our immature healthy so that it can develop and become mature, and learning from our shadows and transforming our shadow. The work is about navigating, developing our ego, navigating between our inner and outer expressions, our mature and immature, and using our shadow, what we don't see, what we are not aware of, as a tool for growth. How do we become aware of what we can't see? We become aware of that by observing us, observing our attitude, our behavior. Okay, let me read what's going on in the chat.
Okay, so people are asking, Will this introspection of coach not interfere with the coaching process?
Where is it?
So I'll pick it up. Mona has asked this question. Will this introspection of coach not interfere with the coaching process?
I can't find it.
So she's put it only to panelists. So the question is, Christina,
Yes, sorry, I was just...
Yeah, will this introspection of coach not interfere the coaching process?
Well, it's a very bright question. We are always alert. We are always there to bring ourselves aware of what we are doing. The deeper we master the coaching competencies at a deeper level, which means a higher level, whatever you want to name it, it's about mastering and having the competencies as a grounding and connecting with the client. But when you want to connect with the client in the present moment, you need to be connected with who you are, with yourself, and show your presence. I mean, being very much present to the coaching conversation. So I see these, and when I manage to practice this, because I'm not always there all the time to do that, but when I manage to practice this polarity work, it is when I am mostly present to myself. So if we go to other coaching competencies, which is presence, you can see the mature masculine and feminine emerging here, remaining focused, observant, but also empathetic and responsive to the client. So if you remain focused, not just on what the client wants, of course, but on who you are, on your energy, and how the energy that comes from you, that emerges from you, is meeting the energy of the client. Curiosity is your pure, mature feminine side, which is the, curiosity of a child, which is the need to be open and to be accepting, managing one's emotion to stay present with the client. In my way of seeing that, it implies to have a very well developed, mature, masculine side. Confidence in working with strong clients' emotions during the coaching process, it implies a dance between the mature feminine and the mature masculine. But what if we recognize in our clients the emergence of one of these elements of polarity and duality? We can remember that. We can know that they are human being having an experience in this life. So they have their own spiritual, divine way of expressing themselves, and we can relate to that. We can use this approach, or we can just use the power of questions in order to let emerge what is one aspect telling to the other, and how can these two duality support each other for a better development.
Christina, so just picking up one example. So like you said, curiosity is pure, mature, feminine aspect, right? Now, suppose as a coach, if I feel that that is one which is not so strong in me. So are there any techniques or tools to develop or to make it mature. So how does one go about doing that?
Well, let's make some examples. Although there are quite a lot of questions that we can use, but some examples. For instance, the victim, which is an expression of the immature feminine. It opposes the immature masculine's just mental nature. To evolve the immature feminine's victim into the mature feminine's expression of creativity, we need to embody the trait that opposes it in the mature masculine, which is wisdom and discernment. So let's say that we feel, I don't know, how or when you can experience the role of a victim as a coach in a coaching interaction, but it can be at very subtle level. And we can access our mature masculine, our level of wisdom, our level of discernment, in order to let them talk and let them find the balance. We can access the mature masculine capability of taking responsibility, and the more we can use wisdom, discernment without judgment, the victim or what is the expression of the victim in that time is finding reassurance. I don't know if that makes sense, but we have to use the duality within ourselves to evolve the polarity.
Okay.
Or let me just give you this short example again. Our inner critic. We're not very good coaches. I haven't performed in a nice way, in a good way in this session with my client. Our inner critic is the part of us that looks to make energy from destruction in order to create something new. It's not bad. It's something that we can use. So the desire to destroy life is the lower vibration of the desire to create life. But ultimately, it's the same desire. They are in the same level. They are two polarities. So when we fully understand ourselves, when we observe ourselves, we realize that the desires to create and destroy are simply both the desires for life or for a better manifestation of our coaching capabilities.
Okay, thank you. Cristina, there's another question. Apart from simple observation, how can we build the skills? I'm sorry, I just moved up. How can we build the skills to attain awareness and where we are with respect to the masculine and feminine polarity continuum, and in turn related to the ICF coaching competencies? How do we use them in our coaching practice to serve self and our clients?
Well, I would like also to hear your voice, because I have, I have been working on this, and it is the continuous work of observation from the outside, which is not a simple work. I wouldn't call it simple observing, and everything changes. Imagine what happens with your clients when you offer your clients a question, and the client, through your question, through your powerful question, can see him or herself in a different way. That observation as a third element from the outside, the interaction, is already the key to transformation. So observation is the key. How do we use them in our coaching practice to serve self and our clients? Well, today's webinar is just a beginning of a conversation. So if you're willing to, you can start using your observation and keeping a journal and asking yourself, ask your intuition, how can this aspect of mine, how can this aspect of mine be developed by the duality of the masculine or feminine? What is it about? What is happening here? Let me just share something that let me just find it somewhere, because there are a lot of things that I couldn't share and time is very, very limited. For instance, you can write down what you already encompass, what people can rely on you for, and the traits that you already have, what you appreciate about yourself as a human being, not just as a coach, in relation to the masculine traits. The mature masculine takes responsibility for everything that is in his environment. The mature masculine will always take responsibility for the world around him from the perspective that life is a mirror. So if you can write down what you are already encompassing on that perspective, that is a very good start in order to let emerge which are the traits of the mature masculine that can support the mature feminine. And you can do the other way around. You can write down what you already encompass, what people loves you for in relation to all the mature feminine traits. But there is no rules. I mean, some feminine traits, some masculine traits, you can also do the list, your own list. It's not my own list or someone's own list.
Somebody is asking, Cristina, how do we build greater awareness on these topics? Can you please suggest some resources?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. One book, which is the book where I got the slides that I share with you, is Masculine and Feminine Polarity Work. Let me just write it. A Guide to Navigate Polarity, Duality, and Your Own Evolution.
You want me to type it? A guide?
Yes, thank you very much. Masculine and Feminine Polarity Work. A Guide to Navigate Polarity, Duality, and Your Own Evolution. And
A Guide to Navigate?
Polarity, Duality, and Your Own Evolution. And you can find something here. Think.com. Let me just check. And this is the author, but it's one author among others. Elliot Saxby is the author of the book, and MF Polarity Work. Yeah, this is something that I can share with you. You can find these slides, and let me just put the slides in the chat. How can I do that? Let me see. Because I was using them, and
I'm not sure if you attach. Can you attach?
I found them. Okay. How can I share them? Can I do?
I am not sure. I don't know. How can you attach the slides in the chat box? If anybody knows, can you please put it in the chat?
Because I try to the way I usually do that, but I can't.
I don't think you can do it in the webinar.
No, I can't.
You can do it in a regular meeting one.
Yeah, but I can send it to you, Ashwari. I don't know if you can send them to the participants.
I will be doing that.
I will do that.
Sure.
So we are running out of time. Where are we now?
So we have already crossed our time, Cristina. And maybe if people have questions, they can just write it to me and I can share it with you for further clarification. And as again, I say that webinars are something which we scratch on the surface. We just introduce the topic. You cannot learn this whole in-depth topic in the webinar. And this is a very, very, very interesting topic that we have had today. So people who are interested, go ahead.
I know.
Yeah.
I have my, my website, and you have my email address here. So you can maybe write me and we can exchange perspectives. And if somebody is interested to have a follow-up and continue the exploration, I have much more, but I apologize, in 60 minutes, this is,
yes.
this is all I can do. But it's, it's such an interesting topic, and I'm happy I had all these, people who listened to what I shared and who participated so actively here. So I'm very grateful I've been able to share this topic here today, but I hope to see you again some other times.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cristina. This was wonderful and a very, very interesting topic. And yes, I am posting the link for the CCUs here. I have posted the link for CCUs in the chat box. Please copy and paste and save this link so that you can submit the form in the next 24 hours. I once again posted because many of the times I received the request saying that they could not get the link. So the link is here again. People who are interested can please feel free to reach to Cristina directly in case if you want to have more insights into the topic, her subjects. Thank you, Cristina, for introducing this lovely topic, and have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you. I'm always happy to partner with you, and I've seen that Jashiri is here. Hello, and also some other friends, and I'm very happy to see, even if I don't see you, because I just saw my my slides and and what I had to share. But thank you for inviting me. It's always a joy.
Thank you so much, and everybody, thank you so much for being there for the webinar. Really appreciate. Wish you a very good night for the Indian participants, and for people outside India, have a best part of the day, remaining part of the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.